May 21st, 2024, meeting of the Barrington. First order is roll call.
Present.
Jesse, you're present?
Tyler present. School present. Review and approval of the minutes from May 7th. Questions, comments? We accept the meeting minutes as written.
I will second that.
Call.
Yep, aye.
Yeah.
Jesse, right?
Alan, aye. Driscoll, aye. Staff updates with the town planner.
In your packet, you will find some information about the land use department proposing a public forum meeting. Donna actually came to Connor about this idea. I'm giving you credit. And she's probably not the only one in the community that know like what does the land use boards do and how they affect development in the community. So it's proposing just about an hour, so kind of like an open house feel, sort of doing just an overview of like what each board does. I'll probably do like a quick PowerPoint presentation on that, and also kind of a plug for people to join the planning board and zoning board, at least as alternates at this time. And then I guess more of the bigger part of it is input or suggestions about zoning and or regulations, and see if there's any public comment out there for it. Originally, the date was not set in stone, but we had to set out the tax bill. So if you can make it, that's great. I hope you can. We tried to choose that on an off week where neither the ZBA or the planning board was meeting. I proposed an earlier time at 6, but and we can go past 7 if needed, but I don't think it would take more than that unless the room fills up or something. So I'll be putting together a little bit of an agenda. Then if you can share it with anybody in the community that you know of. I know some of you may have already seen the meeting maker that I put out. If you want to forward that to people, that's fine too, because I'll put an agenda on there and make it more formal in the next few days to help circulate if that's easier for you. And if there's any other topics that the board wants, that you guys think that you want to talk about, just let me know. You don't have to, I don't mean to put you on the spot right now, but if anybody wants to talk about anything during then, it'd be a good opportunity to.
Snacks.
The questions. I am bringing light refreshments this time.
Like, if you're gonna try and recruit people,
Yes.
you better have snacks.
I'm going to have snacks.
Don't set false expectations.
All right, you
Recruit them onto the
establish
planning
as
board, and
many
there's no
false
snacks once you get
expectations
here.
as possible.
It'll be good. Hopefully good snacks. So if anybody would like to let me know what kind of snacks they like, can do that. I'll probably just do like,
Haagen-Dazs chocolate chip.
well, that's gonna melt. How about I can pull the cone out, check out. No, I'm just kidding.
That was like food
Just kidding.
trucks.
No.
What you want? Oh, no, you can't get
No,
that.
that's light refreshments, not heavy
We got a
refreshments.
planning board
We
stuff.
get a popcorn machine.
That'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be nice.
We're gonna attract
Um,
people just to
Maybe.
driving down the road.
Maybe.
Anyhow,
So, I just wanted to let you all know about that, and it's actually set. That date is set in stone now. It'll be in the tax bills as well. So if people ask you what's this about, what it's about, and I don't have anything else unless anybody has any questions for me.
Moving on.
I think this is great. I think particularly the public comment. We can get suggestions from the public because I think the suggestions we get are now in meetings when people have a vested interest, or they stop you in the supermarket. So it's a very limited sample size, so to speak. This will be better, I think.
Yeah, if you have other ideas of maybe like where to post some kind of engagement, like besides our normal places, town hall, in the library, through our department heads, hopefully they repost things.
And I think the only problem is summertime's a little bit tough.
I know. So, I know it's right before kids get out of school too, so maybe we'll capture that. But yeah. But I think this will also not just be a once time thing, and maybe like once or twice a year. I guess we'll kind of gauge how it goes this year, but I think it'd probably be helpful maybe every year or so to have a similar thing. community event.
Speaking of new folks, what happened to the new guy, the potential new guy?
So he has not been sworn in yet. Tiffany just sent out the oaths this afternoon. He will be here at the next meeting. He wanted to ask if he could come tonight or be in virtually, but Joyce isn't here. He could have sworn in if she was here potentially, but he'll be here and he's very excited, I think, to participate.
Found that out.
So he will be here at the June 4th meeting as far as I know.
Great.
Item number 5, TBS Construction LLC, lot 34-25-1-22. Barry, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Christopher Barry with Barry Surveying and Engineering representing TSB here this evening. We're asking for a revision to our notice of decision, and this really, in my opinion, has to do with word usage and word play. The intent of the original notice of decision is to ensure that the 3-lot subdivision that we conducted on Route 9 essentially had a uniformity created somehow to maintain the shared driveway, maintain the stormwater systems, and the board in the notice of decision used the words HOA, which in my mind is a very general, common term to use. And what I have found out through this process is that an HOA cannot actually be formed as part of a 3-lot or a 3-owner subdivision because there has to be 5 members of an HOA per the Secretary of State. And so our project attorney has developed a private road agreement.
Hold on a second, Chris, I just want to clarify that. I know it's required for 5 or more, but it can't be done for 3?
I'm being told that it can't be done for less than 5. And so the project attorney has created a private road agreement and has created deeds that tie the private road agreement to the parcels as well as the stormwater and maintenance manual. That has been submitted to the town's attorney, who I understand has reviewed it and have approved those documents. But it's because the notice of decision uses the term HOA that we thought it was best that we come back and revise the notice of decision.
Now, talking about a private road agreement, is that what the link was using?
Yes.
And does that define the responsibilities?
Yes.
And, we don't want to finger pointing down the road that, is it, say, 50-50, the expense will be, we'll take care of that. I mean, what does it actually say? They're understanding what the responsibilities are.
So it's the private road agreement, the entire private road and the entire drainage system are subject to the private road agreement. And they're all responsible. Each lot owner is responsible for essentially 1/3.
Okay.
So it's not, I have to maintain this little section, you have to maintain this large section. It's everybody congruently shares in the maintenance.
Yeah, we don't want it down the road where somebody says, it's not my responsibility. It's not,
Right.
As long as it says a third.
Yep.
That defines what the responsibilities are. I think that's great. That's
Yep.
fine.
I think it could be easily captured by putting it in as a, it's not a deed restriction, but a covenant in the deed that states that each party is responsible for 1/3 of this, and collectively the homeowners association will be responsible for filing their detention or their inspections, following their stormwater plan, and there are like 2 other items tied to it.
Yep.
Any more comments, questions, concerns?
As long as we get the
Everything's
job done,
okay with
that's the
this?
thing. Yeah, we get there as long as we get there.
Okay,
So we have actual language that we're gonna.
we have a notice of decision.
Just to address the board, the attorney reviewed the notice of decision and had made suggestions on how to address removing the HOA language. And so you'll see in your packet that it's what it's highlighted in red is the proposed what to take out, and then did have one addition on item number 3 under the general and subset conditions. But those are the proposed changes. If you feel like there's other something else you would like to do. But I think that encompasses what the applicant is requesting.
Need to do public comment on this?
For the record, I mean,
I am opening this to public comment. Is anyone online?
there's nobody online.
I'm closing public comment. Okay.
Make a motion to amend the NOD as note marked up per the attorney. As revised per the attorney.
Second.
Roll call.
Napa.
Jesse, right?
Howard, aye.
Driscoll, aye. So you're gonna read this?
What are you looking at this for? What do we do wrong?
Nothing. You did everything absolutely
You
correct.
read this part, and
I
I'll
was just
read
joking because we
general
just had a discussion before about reading before, so that's
But-
okay.
You want to
No,
get
I'm
further
fine.
clarification on whether we should do this.
We can read it if you want.
You do this, I'll do
Do the
this.
term.
Why
Okay.
don't we just read the revised sections?
So the revised,
I asked.
that sounds good.
Why do you guys read your notes?
What do you guys think?
Down revised sections.
There-
Take that as a victory, Chris. Take that as a victory.
The revised
I do have a 1 hour minimum,
sections
so.
are in reference to the new date for the 21st, May 21st, conditionally approved. The application from the original notice of decision on April 4th, 2023. The other correction, or I guess it should say amended, that would also push out the precedent conditions if they're not met within 12 calendar days of May 21st, 2025. Board's approval considered lapsed unless
12 calendar
mutually
days?
agreeable. 12 calendar months, excuse me, sorry. I'm getting all nervous, you're making me like try to cut it out. Okay, the condition precedents that changed was number 8. The ownership and maintenance of the stormwater system and driveways is to be approved by the town attorney. And the applicant is responsible for attorney fees, striking the proposed home owners association. Formerly number 9 was stricken from the original notice of decision that the HOA would be recorded at SCRD by the land use department prior of issuance of a certificate of occupancy in the first dwelling on the driveway. And then the other amended portion is under general and substantive conditions of item number 3. And instead of stating the responsible parties, it should be the homeowners will conduct inspections, complete the required maintenance, maintaining inspection and maintenance checklist logs, and providing copy with the annual reports to town of Barrington Land Use Department by December 15th of each year.
That be amended to lot owners. There's no home,
Now how about property owners?
Landowner.
Property owners?
landowner,
Property owners? Landowners, whatever.
like, it's semantics, and
Fine.
even homeowners is semantics, but I look at if there's no home there, somebody's gonna argue, well, there's not a house on that lot.
The landowners. Or property, which one do you?
I'm okay with
Okay.
landowner.
Okay.
Lot owner would be, because it's a lot of record. I'm just
He
trying to
just
make
wants
it
his
clear.
meeting to go for the full hour for Chris.
I think Chris is okay going shorter and going for the hour.
Okay, and those are the only amendments that were proposed unless the board wishes to add or amend any further conditions.
I'm good.
Good. I told Bob I wanted 10 minutes.
Stop talking.
But we had to wait for these two.
Make a motion, we approve the amended notice of decision.
Roll call.
Nap aye.
Suchi, aye.
Jesse, right?
All right.
Driscoll, aye.
We already do that?
I did thought so too. I'm like,
Did it before.
I'm like, whatever. If I got to do it again, so be it.
So we didn't have to vote again.
I have it both on there. It will be reflected in the minutes.
I should have
Well, usually
voted
we
no.
read it, usually we read it and then vote.
You voted, well, you guys
Yes.
voted, then you decided to discuss it, and then we'll vote it. It's
Whatever.
okay, you're in there twice. It's
Yeah.
better to overvote than
Well,
undervote,
you
I
did it
guess.
twice,
Voted
but
twice.
really good.
Super good.
And it's even better.
So we have final plans. Is he able to sign them tonight?
I don't think tonight, but I will talk with him about when we can sign him.
Okay, that'd be great. We're anxious to put concrete.
Waiting to know. He also owes attorney fees, so I will remind him again of that. But
I'll remind him when I walk out of here.
okay,
I won't be as pleasant as you.
okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chris.
Take care. Okay, item 6, work session discussion.
I don't know if anybody wanted to discuss. I just want to let you know the site review regulations are slated to be at our June meeting. Our town engineer has not given me a draft yet, so I'm not 100% sure on that. But if anybody has any other things you want to think about, we could still have it at our June meeting if there's other regulations you want to address. He was basically just going to update from what's in the subdivision regulations and carry over to the site review regulations as far as like construction management and a few other updates.
Okay, subdivision is part of the discussion as well?
This one will just be for site review regulations. We can do the subdivision ones because I know there was a few other comments that the board wanted to see changed. I know, for example, like the Joyce mentioned for the environmental impact to change language there, and then there was a few other comments that we didn't change before. But as of right now, we're just looking at the site review ones. Okay. Okay, or if you have any comments you want to email me ahead of time too, we can kind of.
I can tell you what
Go
it
from
is.
there.
I mean, the
Okay.
one that we did on road with the county outlines.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that totally undermines the regulations. If you have attached, you're gonna have detached houses, there's a size requirement for that.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's just an end run to get around it. They
Mhm.
had very high density there that they did by condoizing the property lines, which is, everyone's gonna do that. No one's ever gonna follow the regulations to the minimum lot size. They can do that. So I think that totally undermines, it's just a complete loophole around the size requirements of 20,000 or 30,000 square feet for. So that one, I want to modify the language so you can't do it for detached.
It's 20,000,
20,000?
but even the minimum for DES is 30,000 if you. Well, we ever did 20.
It doesn't make any sense, because when you look at it, the lot can't yield its standalone system, or it shouldn't be able to yield a standalone system. So you'd have to have a common well. That's the functional intent of doing it that way.
That one-
So I don't know how
The way
they
some
even
of these
plan to
lots-
get around that.
Trying to put a protection zone for a well in there, and 4,000 square feet for the area. They're gonna fit that in there.
Well, I think if you have,
I mean, you're gonna end up putting it closer to your neighbor on some of those small.
well, when you have attached ones, you can do a common septic, but when you have, detached houses, single family houses, have to have their own septic.
Yeah,
Then getting around the size requirement, I think, is problematic for a lot of reasons. It didn't meet the 3-to-1 requirement for lot size. Density was too much. I mean, no one will ever follow that requirement for the lot size if they can do. I mean, I give them credit.
Well,
It was creative. It was,
I mean,
but we should follow it.
I also think we have to be a little careful referencing that case, because
Yeah.
it's not,
it's not just being discussed here.
right,
Still an
it's
open
not,
case.
it's not completed. But I do think, I'll leave it at that.
Hypothetically, you were saying if one was to attempt to do this without naming any suggestions.
Well, I mean, it doesn't prejudice my opinion of that one, because they're following the regulations that they have now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that
I
that's.
would just say, you're in a recorded meeting, so you're probably best to,
Say less.
yes.
Say less.
That's really good advice to me.
I'm surprised you didn't jump on us.
Usually do.
I'm done.
And just to let you know that, as you all know, but zoning amendments are coming up quickly,
It's good. because I
essentially,
think
but I
we-
want to try to
I
get a
felt we
better
got-
jump start on
Yeah, I
them.
felt we
You're gonna
really
try
didn't have enough time
120,000
last
square feet
time.
again?
Yeah, so I'd like to try to aim,
August.
But I'm still gonna do a
For August.
petition. This time I won't screw it up and turn it in late, though. Just because I've been raw dogged twice, so pardon the expression for the public
So you're
meeting.
coming back for a second bite?
That'd be a third.
Third,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well,
That's good. I mean,
I mean, I keep hearing from people that our small town is losing its small town feel. And we're losing our rural character, and we just keep cramming in homes and subdivisions. And how do you control it? Well, you may still have subdivisions, but your way to do that is to make it so that you don't have such massive density in that. And there are still some large parcels out there where you're looking at 100, 150 homes or more that could come wadding in here in front of us.
And I think the comments we get along those lines, I think usually conservation subdivision. I don't hear too many complaints about, 80,000 square foot lots. I heard about the subdivisions that, attached or.
But how do you end up there? Because your lot size is set at a minimum of 1.88 acres. You have your 80,000 square foot, which means your conservation subdivision does not do anything to differentiate that or create a benefit to building conventional as opposed to building conservation.
don't you
It
bump
saves them money.
But once you bump the conservation from 20 or 30, whatever it is, to 40, I think that's a more direct route. I think it's more directly. My problem is that I think that a lot of people support that, but it impacts a small group very, very heavily. I think reason I didn't go for it is I thought you might got approved. I think it hammers people who have
It would have gotten approved.
people who have no interest in it will vote for it. But it hammers some people that are, that their money is in the land. That's their 401k. And it hammers them. And I think they get disproportionately, the people who are going to be affected directly get hammered. And people who don't have lots like that will vote for it. I think it's unfair to the people who have the large blocks of land. That's why I was afraid to get approved, and I thought it was unfair to the people who have large blocks of land. I think that's the bank.
but the advantage is in doing the yield plan.
Right.
So you knock the numbers way down.
But you could bump those, bump from 20,000 to 40,000. If you worried about very dense, subdivisions, bump the conservation subdivision up to 40,000, half of what it is.
What I see happening out of it by going to the larger lot sizes is you control your growth, you control your costs and your urban impact. And if Joyce were sitting here, I would look right at her and tell her, if the select board does their job at controlling municipal spending and the tax rate, which we did for 6 years, and we went from a tax rate of almost $27 a thousand, $26.96, down to the year I left, it dropped to that next year to the $16.66. If you do that and you stay that course, what you will see is values will continue to rise in this town, because the tax impact that people pay disproportionately affects their ability to afford housing. So the higher tax rate drives down the affordability of housing. You want that value to be in the house, not in the taxes. When you look at your percentage of mortgage payment, you want it to be in the value of the house, not in the tax base. And that's where it should always be, which is why when you look at low tax towns, where do you see? You see significantly high values. And Barrington's done a pretty good job of that, but we're at risk at destroying that with some of what's kind of fiddling around out here. And you're going to see the tax rates rise, which is going to make an affordability problem in Barrington, which ultimately will have a negative impact on values.
The first quarter, 19 homes were sold. Average was 560.
Mm-hmm.
But that includes Berry River Road.
Yep.
And those small little parcels and stuff.
But if you look at Berry River Road 5-6 years ago, you could buy a house on Berry River Road for $50,000. like 150 grand bought you kind of a nice house out there. You still probably might not have wanted to live out there, but it bought you a nice house. Now, 350,000 is a house out there. And what you'll see is you will see a continued gentrification of Berry River, Longshore, any of the areas that have not been like prime real estate
Right.
will continue to get bought up, cleaned up, renovated, and driven up because the value is so significant in other areas of the town. So you will see it continue to move upward. But, and it does, it, when you talk about how does it help people, people who bought houses at here years ago that have been here 30, 40 years that were buying land for 20 or 30 grand and then sitting on chunks of land and have been buying houses for 100, 150,000. I mean, heck, I bought in 2015 and I know how much my house has gone up. You will see that continue to happen if the select board does their job and we do a good job at land use and planning.
Meadowbrook selling it to high 700s.
Barrington very easily could be, if it's managed well and done right, will be $1 million+ town, which I think is wild. But if the town can control their spending, you will see Barrington keep moving in that direction. Mm-hmm.
Hey. Any more business or should we take a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded. Roll call.
Nap aye.
So, yeah.
Jesse, you're on?
Alan, aye.
Driscoll, aye. Thank you, everyone.
Peace out, Ruthless.